Hello and welcome to Low Budget Gaming and welcome to another first Descendant video. So I wanted to do a bit of a recap of episode 3 of season 3, the Dia season. This one seemed pretty long to me. We got the start in early March and here in sort of mid-May, a few days before episode 4 with the Asimo season, Ultimate Asimo season, I thought we'd just catch up, chat a bit, and casually and talk about what happened and what we could see in the future and what can be changed. So basically, we got Daya finally after a lot of hype. About a year before this episode, she was introduced in Sigma Sector and things like that with Serena. The story was, I think, the highlight here. Story was pretty good, very tragic, and it was a bit too dark in my opinion. They have killed off a couple of characters. Alpha in the second episode, and then now whichever version of Daya you think got killed off. So one of the things I noticed was I tend to not go to the deep underwater base as much. Like when I have to do the 20 missions to get my ancestors modules, I tend to go Legion Lab or maybe the Forbidden Sanctuary. I'm not going there. I tried using like the matchmaking where you have that option to select whatever can be matched, and it did drop me in the underwater base a few times, and yeah, it's not as fun to play that knowing about the story there. So maybe they need to consider this as well, because psychologically someone like me is avoiding it unintentionally, maybe subconsciously, but I noticed that I have more fun in the Forbidden Sanctuary and the Legion Lab, and the receptor is also not that bad. I mean, I can play it, but yeah, the underwater lab is by far the least played of all the 4 Axion Plains infiltration missions. So maybe tone it down. But yeah, with the Asimo coming with the episode 4 and the ultimate version, his story is probably going to be a lot more lighthearted. I hope, because they have a habit of making very dark, tragic stories. And with the other Fire Bros, if they pop up, I think it might be lighthearted, similar to the Blair story. I think we kind of need something a little light now after 2 or 3 back-to-back depressing ones. Like the Eugen one wasn't particularly, it was pretty dark as well, actually, if you think about it. Then we had the Alpha thing and then the Dia situation. So yeah, we kind of need something lighthearted now. So yeah, so that is my opinion of the story. As far as the missions were concerned, once again we got the underwater lab and then we got the Legion lab. Now I kind of like the Legion lab. It's a little different. It's still easy and quick to finish it. Multiple tyrants in the missions, and also you have the boss is kind of weak. The sculptor is not the strongest boss. Things like the pattern Flores and some of the other bosses are a bit harder, but yeah, it's okay. Overall, the mission and how it flows, and there's 1 or 2 sections where you get on the bike and go outside. I like that. I think if they try this setup, occasionally having part of it outside in daylight and adding just a bit of variety, I think it would be fun. So yeah, I prefer Legion Lab much more. We also got the beta of Onslaught, which was, I think, very interesting. There was a lot of interest overall. And I think, yeah, if they keep working and tweaking it a little bit, I think this will be a good idea. So with episode 4, official version of Onslaught is coming out. And if they can get it right, I think it might be a good end game activity. Alongside all of this, we also got minor things. Some of the things I really liked was the introduction of the quests with the Eckert, the HQ special operations. I think that is a good way. A lot of people can get some of the Descendants, the dogs, the guns quite easily using that. And I think I mentioned this in 1 or 2 comments to one of the viewers who were asking previously. I've seen how they've sort of changed the game around completely. Like when the game first came out, the idea was to make the grind excessive so that people end up buying the Descendants. Back then they were having a few skins, but not as many. And the idea was that people would buy the Descendant if the grind was too much, and they would be grinding a lot, so they'll be playing the game. That did not work out, at least because the game took off in the sort of Western sphere, and this style of grinding doesn't work. It's more of a Korean mindset. So this decided to change quite a bit. And now what I notice is they've made getting the Descendant easier, and in order to get the revenue, they have added more skins. Like they make more skins every 2 weeks. You get some sort of theme or skin, and I think they will be running another skin contest very soon because they had a Twitter post yesterday coming soon. So I'm guessing the contest will start with episode 4, and then by the time we get to the summer and the big launch, they'll probably have the what do you call it, the winners, and they'll have the skins out earlier. Like this time we got the skins just now, so next time I think they'll do it faster. So yeah, so that is like what we are seeing here in terms of the change they have decided. So I don't think Ultimate SEMO will be hard to get. There'll be a story, maybe 1 or 2 missions. The farming loop is getting improved again with episode 4. So yeah, so lots of changes. But back to episode 3, we also got some weapons. I think overall the weapons were not as great. The new ones we got, the E-Buster hasn't done much for Inez so far, and we are getting another Inez mod with episode 4, so maybe the E-Buster might shine. Typhoon, I haven't really used it. It's Eye of the Typhoon. It's okay, but I haven't really used it. What we did get was some reworks to some of the older weapons and Descendants, and I think those maybe outshined some of the other things. So we got the hammer and anvil redone for basically, well, not necessarily for VSR, like they had it redone before, but with the combination of VSR, it became a lot more powerful. And then, of course, we had the Kingsguard Lance, which honestly I had never actually used before. I had never even built the Kingsguard Lance until this episode. And when they did, it was insane in the hands of Serena. Now, besides this, we also got some reworks to a few Descendants. Keelan got a rework. Clay had a lot of issues with her rework, with the early issues with the blood and iron and things like that. But eventually things settled down, and I'm kind of not playing Clay much these days. We also had reworks to Keelan. Again, it was okay, but it did not change much. In fact, I'm trying to remember when we got the Keelan rework because it barely feels like anything happened. And also, who else? Sharon. Sharon rework had a lot of messy issues as well, with a lot of bugs and them needing to fix it and things like that. They did get the VSR rework perfect, in my opinion. So they changed one of the mods to the Frost Bullet, which they call the Frost Bullet now. That turned out to be really good, in my opinion. And also the normal mod, the Absolute Zero, that is still pretty strong. And the Glacial Cloud also became very good. So these became like the top 3 mods for VSR. And then finally, of course, Daya herself as a playable character was very, very strong. And initially, again, she was being outshined by her mother. They then tweaked a few things, made her sort of skills faster to use, and she became quite powerful. And at the time I played Daya nonstop, I put 60 catalysts, but then after that I kind of went back to other people. I haven't really played Daya recently. That whole charging with the lance thing is okay, but it gets boring to me. And so she was good for taking out the boss we got, which was the fire one. The fire one, I forgot the name. Flamewalker or something, I can't remember. Anyway, so we defeated that boss in like 30 seconds with Daya, and then we got her mobbing is good, her bossing is good, she's very powerful, she has a lot of health. So overall, she's a pretty good Descendant if you want something comfortable. But I tend to still, play random people. Like these days, I'm just playing a Simo all the time just to put, more catalysts into him and things like that. And so when I have a Descendant all done to 60, then I just tend to focus on people who I need to, build up more, add more catalysts, finish out the builds and things like that. So anyway, I've just completely forgot what I was talking about. But yeah, overall, Daya pretty strong, story pretty depressing. Reworks, most of them were okay, hit and miss. BSR rework was pretty good. Hammer and Anvil was pretty good. Lance was very good. So a lot of good things as well. Also, the Battle Pass, since this just popped up while I'm watching this video, I think overall the Battle Pass was much better. The skin at the end, the Albion Academy thing, not the Academy, the office thing or whatever you want to call it, the overcoat and stuff. That was pretty good, I think, for both males and females. Much more interesting, much more sort of in line with the lore of the game. And the rest of it was okay as well. The Eye of the Typhoon was the Battle Pass weapon. So yeah, Overall, I think a solid season. Standouts were definitely Daya. Um, and of course, the Legion Lab, in my opinion, was good. The reworks to VSA was fantastic. But yeah, a lot of okay things, let's say average things like the rework to Keelan, Eye of the Typhoon, and E-Buster were average. And then a few issues with, negativity and a lot of unnecessary bugs and things with, the Gaia. No, sorry, not that. The Glay shooting through walls with the blood and iron. That created unnecessary drama. They could have, just fixed that and launched it in a better state to avoid all this nonsense. Similarly, with the Sharon rework, they had to do it a couple of times until they got it right. So yeah, just they need to sort of restructure their, testing, let's say, and how they release these reworks. But yeah, let me know what you think. Overall, I'm satisfied. It was a little longer than usual. I think by a couple of weeks. If they had kept it a bit shorter this season, it wouldn't have felt so long. But yeah, let's see what episode 4 with Esimo has in store for us, and then on to the summer. But yeah, that's it. Thank you for watching.